It may be difficult at first, but everything is difficult at first. Miyamoto Musashi, what's he talking about? Well, there he's talking about Bushido. He's talking about Japanese swordsmanship, but I believe that applies to pretty much everything in life. It may be difficult at first, just like learning to chart, but everything is that way. And if you spend the time honing it, you can do it. The only determinant of success is based upon your commitment. And we only ask 10 to 15 minutes each and every day to learn how this works. Remember, it's a binary decision. Do you buy? Do you not buy? Do you sell? Do you not sell? It is literally, is it going up or is it going down? It's not complicated, but it is complicated. And as you jump into it, you will see. 10 to 15 minutes a day, that's all we ask. I just finished recording Charting Crypto for our Patreon members. Oh man, looking into Ethereum, looking into Bitcoin, looking into the 10 crypto ETF index, all sorts of great stuff. If you're interested, it's available to Patreon members. There's a few slots left at the $30 a month support level. Let's jump into these charts. We see the S&P 500 up a little bit. The Nasdaq 100 pretty much flat. It's down 0.01%. 20-year bonds down 1%. Gold down 0.03%. So pretty much flat. And of course, Bitcoin still going down, friends, 2.14%. We'll talk about this 50-period moving average line is maybe being a floor in a minute. Let's first jump into the S&P 500. What do we see happening? Well, a big green up candle started the week off, just barely crossing over at this point on the price percent oscillator. Derivative oscillator still way negative. So we'll see how this week shapes up, if indeed there's a crossover or not. And if it is, do we trust it? If the derivative oscillator stays this negative, let's watch. What do we see with the 2-day? I'm going to move that line out of the way so you can see big upper wick here. Let's see what the high was. The high was 478.81. First day of this latest 2-day candle, 478.56. So not reaching a higher high as far as where it peaked during the day, but a green up candle moving right up that 2-day trend line, and we see things moving up there. Derivative oscillator has crossed over into the green also. And again, up just a little bit, only 0.13%. Look at what's happening on the half day. That's where we can see where things peaked on Tuesday and then just sort of sliding sideways since then. Price percent oscillator flattening, derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. So where are we? We're in a real indecision mode here as we get to the end of the year. We'll see how this week continues to play out for us on the S&P 500. What about the Nasdaq 100? It was down a little bit for the day. Green up candle for the week so far. No crossover yet. Derivative oscillator still gaining some downward momentum. 2-day chart, it is trying to cross over. We'll see when that candle finishes drawing on Thursday. If indeed it's a 2-day crossover going up. It hasn't reached the high it did on that prior 2-day candle from Monday, Tuesday. Derivative oscillator is going green, so we'll see how that goes. See the same kind of thing, a big run up and then sort of deteriorating, moving sideways. Now the price percent oscillator at the end of the day did go from a little flat to a little up, but that derivative oscillator still losing momentum. So we'll see how this week continues to move along. Still 2 full days left this market week. What about 20-year bonds crossing over, going down? Now that's happening. It hasn't happened yet. It looks like it's, again, getting stronger, down 1.09%. It was our big decline. Well, Bitcoin was our big decliner for the day, but the big one in the top 4. And what do we see? We see a big red down candle forming for the week. May very well have a weekly vertical crossover. Would like to see this 2-day the derivative oscillator crossover at the same time. The 2 days already crossed over. We go to the 2-day, we can see it accelerating down with the price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator and the candle and we look at the half day, down in the morning, about the same in the afternoon, again spiking down on both the price percent oscillator and the derivative oscillator. So lots of downward pressure on 20-year bonds. What about gold? Gold, a little less than flat, 0.03% down for the day, but a green up candle so far forming for the week. We can see where that price percent oscillator flattening. Derivative oscillator gaining downward momentum. Not a good sign for continued up move in gold. Look at the 2-day here. You can see, let's make sure, yes. Let's look at the 2-day here, where we see the derivative oscillator still moving up a little bit, price percent oscillator moving up, but a red down candle pushed through the 2-day trend line. And you might say, Tom, there's a lot of, some ups, some downs. What do all these different things mean? When you see the signs not all coming together, it's showing you that there's a great deal of indecision in that particular stock or ETF. And that is when you start weighing those factors. That is what's so important about filling out your daily market worksheet, your once a week weekly market worksheet. Those are in your show notes every day. If you're not a subscriber, go sign up for free at chartingwealth.com. You'll see those PDFs every day. You can print them out to your heart's content. I'll put all the trainings on how to use those worksheets at the end of today's video. Why do you want to do that? Because you start learning as you fill those out, as you listen to the show, as you go through your favorite charts with your favorite ETFs or stocks, and you start looking and you say, on this particular stock, what works better than anything? It's that 2-day price percent oscillator coupled with the weekly derivative. You start learning those things. You start learning when you can rely more on the candlesticks versus this versus that, and how to sort of portend and see things. But that is by doing. And again, that's what your 10 to 15 minutes every day is all about. And if you will add that secret ingredient, which is so simple, it's filling out those worksheets. Just one worksheet every day. Go through that as you listen to the show. Think about those things. Keep them. And when you're in a trade, fill out that trade worksheet. That'll help you really learn from those trades. That just intensifies the trading. So again, that's what we see on the 2-day. What do we see on the half day? We can see where things hammered down in the morning on gold and recovered a little bit in the afternoon. Price percent oscillator hasn't crossed over going down yet. So as we look at gold, again, it's just not getting a lot of strength at this point. It looks like it could be primed to take off, but there's still just some negative overhang. We see it there on the derivative oscillator. We want to see things really take off and pull away, but not happening yet. So that's where we are on gold. I'm ready to get back in gold. Gold did me so good on this last weekly vertical crossover. Now, let's last go to Bitcoin, down for the day 2.14%. What do we see here? Talked to you at the beginning of the program today about this 50-period moving average line. What does that represent? 50 weeks, almost a year. Look at how Bitcoin stopped going down right there. Now, if it bounces off this and heads up, that might be a good sign. If it pushes through it, it might mean Bitcoin's got a ways to go before it stops going down. Price percent oscillator poised still for more downward movement. So is the derivative oscillator on the biggest chart, our weekly chart. What do we see on the 2-day? We saw 3 days of up movement, and then we saw this last day where things turned into a red down candle. Nonetheless, that price percent oscillator is negative and about flat. Derivative oscillator still losing downward momentum. Half day, we can see where things peaked on Monday, and then Tuesday and Wednesday just moving down again. So again, overall in this crypto space, still lots of downward pressure. Not a place to be jumping into cryptocurrency in any virtual trade. That's where we are, folks, as we end the day. By the way, tomorrow, Thursday, I'm traveling. I'm down here in Panama right now. I'm going back to the States on Thursday. and I probably won't get the show out until quite late. So you have to forgive me if I get it out late tomorrow. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.